We're talking food. Today's 3 meals of Atkins, basically induction phase or darn close to it. I say that because I stick pretty close to induction. I may eventually, every now and then, have some kind of food that's in that maybe didn't really come in until the second phase. I'm more concerned about where I keep my carbs, which is low as possible. So those of you who know Atkins very well may be thinking, hey, girl, some of your recipes don't look like induction to me. Mostly they are. Every now and then I slip something in. But the carbs will still stay low. Let's talk about today's food. Breakfast this morning. First I gotta find it on my computer. I got my computer in my lap. That's why I'll be looking down. First I have to figure out what the heck day of week it is. Between the solstice and New Year's, I tend to go quiet. I'm doing these videos, but I'm not doing emailing or social media or things like that. Oh, I'd lie if I said I wasn't online playing games every now and then, but other than that, I'm doing other things. I'm spending a lot of time planning my meals going forward and doing math on calculating carbs and calories. So anyway, today for breakfast I had 2 pieces of bacon and 3 slices of cheddar cheese. That once again, those slices that I'm using are the ones that come in a little pre-sliced pack. They're about 2 inches by 2 inches. That's 1.2 carbs, and it's 175 calories. Made ham salad for lunchtime. I really love this ham salad recipe. It's not something I would have ever tried on my own, and it's very different from anything I've ever had. A reminder, recipes are always going to be in the text box below. The reason it's different is it has cayenne pepper in it. Yeah, that's really different. So here's what you need to assemble in order to make this particular low-carb ham salad, which, by the way, came from the Atkins site. I always want to give credit to the sites where we can be inspired with good recipes. You'll need 6 ounces of boneless cooked fresh ham cubed. Now I have to admit there was a buy one get one at the store on Hormel's already cubed ham. So that's what I got. 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard, 3 tablespoons of mayonnaise. You do know, if you're following this program, that you don't use any kind of low-fat or non-fat dairy products. We're talking the real deal here. Here's the thing that makes it rather interesting. 1/4 teaspoon of red or cayenne pepper. A tablespoon of chopped shallots. I've tried this recipe with shallots and with onions. Shallots give it I don't know if they're really good with the cayenne pepper, because that bite that the pepper has, it just seems to go really good with the shallots. I gotta admit, guys, I grew up not knowing what a shallot was. I had to learn about that as I taught myself to cook over the years. So there's usually shallots as well as onions, green onions, and garlic in my produce drawer in the refrigerator. And then it calls for 1/2 ounce of pickles, which we all know, low carbing is dill pickles. To tell you the truth, I made that easy too. I have dill relish always in the refrigerator. Making it couldn't be any easier. You just mix it all up. It's best if it's in the refrigerator for a few hours. Overnight's even better. It does have a bite to it, but it doesn't have a burny bite. I never would have thought about cayenne and ham salad. It's really, really good. I had mine today with 2 kosher dill pickle slices and 10, count them, 10 black olives. Dinner time. This is a new recipe, so I'm going to be telling you about the recipe now as I'm making it, and I'll have to put a little addendum on the end of this to tell you how we liked it, although I don't know how we couldn't. It's dry rub pork ribs. Now the thing about that is you can get low-carb ketchups and barbecue sauces and things like that. But low-carb doesn't mean real low carb. I actually like dry rub recipe for pork. At barbecue places, if I have an option between a messy, gooey, saucy barbecue and a dry rub barbecue, I like the dry rub better. So to me, it's not a big sacrifice to go with the dry rub for this. Here's what you'll need for this recipe, which, by the way, I found on allrecipes.com. 3 tablespoons of ground sage, 3 tablespoons of lemon pepper, a tablespoon of chopped fresh rosemary, which I did not have, so I used 2 tablespoons of the dried, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of dried thyme, and 2 teaspoons of ground black pepper, and 4 pounds of pork spare ribs. Easy as this. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees and mush together. Stir it together really good, all those dry ingredients. And do remember, and it's going to be in the carb count for this, these things don't come without carbs. Even these spices will carry some carbs. Stir them all together. Pat down both sides of your pork ribs and place it in a cooking sheet that has a ledge to it. The thing is, you need a little time to cook this, so allow for that. You have to cook it for 2 hours on 350. At the end of an hour, check and be sure it's according to the nature of your ribs, whether you have an awful lot of juices that collect that you might need to drain from your pan. It's always a good thing to check that. So that is as simple as it is. Oh, it might take 2 hours to cook, but all you did was rub a bunch of spices on a rack of ribs and then put it in the oven. Can't get too much easier than that. Tonight we're having it with Brussels sprouts. A cup of Brussels sprouts for me. More for the hubs, but a cup for me so I can stay within my carbs. And also the luxury of butter, a tablespoon of butter on those Brussels sprouts. The really cool thing about this recipe is, I should have mentioned for the ham one actually, that the serving size is 1/4 of the total. It's the same thing for these ribs. So a 4-pound rack of ribs, of course, weighs a little less once it's cooked, but 1/4 of it is a serving size. And that 1/4 of it is 1.7 carbs. There is 4.7 carbs in a cup of Brussels sprouts. And then I'll have a tablespoon of butter. So my dinner count is 6.4 carbs and 576 calories. I'll put the end product pictures in here for the ribs. I'm going to assume they're going to turn out just fine. My mouth's watering just thinking of them. It feels like it shouldn't be legal on either carbs or calories. Although it's meat, there's no reason why I should think. Maybe it just feels delicious and sumptuous. Anyway, my total carb count for the day is 11.2. Now, you know I'm aiming to be less than 20, and I'm finding it's actually really easy to be extremely low in carbs. That's not been my challenge. My challenge has been calories, keeping it at 1,200 or less. And I did, of course, because that's what I'm aiming for. Calories for the day, or 1,170. I could look around the house and see what could I eat for 30 calories. Let's just say I'm happy with where it stands. Hope you enjoyed today's recipes.